Well, hey guys, it's Rev Joe April here, and we're doing this live. We are now April the 1st, and what we're looking at tonight is the fact that reality of what's going on is starting to bite. We've been in lockdown now for about a week and a half, but also the virus has been spreading globally for quite a few weeks, months indeed. And the reality of the situation is really starting to hit home for a lot of people. And that reality is coming through in a variety of ways. So the reality, one, of how serious this is, that the numbers of people being infected is going up. The numbers of those who are being really impacted by this virus and it's making them very ill, some leading to death, is also going up. The numbers we're seeing in other countries, that kind of carrying on, and the impact it's having on society, the reality of that really starting to come through also. There's also the reality of the impact it's having on our lives. So you think back to maybe 2-3 weeks ago, what were you doing and what was your life like? It will look nothing like your life looks like now. And there's huge changes going on. And you know what? When those changes initially start, there's an energy that comes with it. So when you're forced into a place of needing to change and lots of things happening, there's kind of an adrenaline rush that comes with that almost. And that was last week. Last week was this adrenaline rush going on of all these changes needing to happen and sorting things out. And that kind of gets you through. There's almost like a bit of whoa, look at this kind of going on. But now in this week, this second week, the reality really does start to hit quite hard. And that's the reality of, oh my word, we're still in lockdown. And actually, it's not looking like this is going to end anytime particularly soon. The fact that we are still not able to do the things that perhaps we want to do. The change in people's jobs, the reality of that. There's people I know already who have taken quite large pay cuts. There's people I know who have lost their jobs. There's people who are very scared about what the future holds for their employment. There are people who are still having to work, but working under such extreme pressures that it's causing real anxiety and fear. There's also the fact that we're surrounded by our family constantly, but we're trapped in our homes, and that could be a good thing or a bad thing, but the reality of that again starts to hit. The fact that we are now homeschooling our children and what that means, doing that day in and day out. What does it mean to be surrounded by our family day in and day out? That can be quite challenging. The reality that we cannot do the things that we used to do. There was somebody who messaged me today, and they used to be a volunteer. They used to help a lot of people, and that was their purpose. That was their drive. That's what gave their life real kind of meaning. But now they're the ones who are stuck at home. They're in the at-risk category, so they're not allowed out, and they're having to accept help from others. And you know what? They're really struggling with that. But reality bites in other ways as well. There's a reality of actually, who are we when so much of our identity is stripped away? Who are we when it comes to being a parent or a husband or a wife or a sister or a brother? In times like this, the reality of who we are actually really comes to the fore. The reality of who we are as a society, again, it really starts to shine through. That perhaps we're not this completely individualistic society that is only focused on what we want and forget everybody else. Then actually, in reality, the vast majority of people are people who care about each other. And in times of great need, will sacrifice ourselves for the sake of others. So as we get into this week, and as we're halfway through it, the reality is really starting to bite. One, of how hard and desperate and difficult this situation is, and the fact that it's going to go on for quite a long time. But also the reality of who we are as people, who we are as family, and who we are as wider society. That also is starting to really shine through. This week, I hope you're doing all right. I hope you're getting through okay. But more than that, I hope the reality of who you are and who I believe God sees you are is really starting to shine through. May you know God's peace and his joy and his love and his strength in these days. And I'll see you again on Friday night. And we're going to be doing more of these live things. And over the coming week, there's going to be much more services coming on in a more structured way. So look out for them. And when we're going to be doing this, that'll be advertised. But I'll see you Friday evening for another one of the Rev Joe Reflections. And you guys take care of yourselves. I'll see you soon.